Hello, my name is John Tuddy. I'm a football reporter, and I'm hoping you have a nice Memorial Day weekend. So I thought I would do this list of the top 5 most overrated quarterbacks in NFL history. Now, this said in the title, it said strictly opinion. This is my opinion. So, what I may say may upset you. I'm going to upset a lot of people with this list. This list is right here. Took me a while to write. Gave me a couple. I spent hours kind of doing my research on it. So, without further ado, let's dive into number 5, and that is the most recent retiree, Peyton Manning. I know, I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, but when I say overrated, I don't mean I don't like these guys. It means that I think they get praise for stuff I don't think they should get. And Peyton Manning is kind of one of those guys where you look at and he's got great regular season stats. But where I have the most questions for is in the postseason. He leads the NFL in passing yards, passing touchdowns in most in the regular season and most in NFL history and in football history, in all football. But he has 13 playoff losses, and most of them were his fault. 7 of those playoff losses happened at home. 2 of them in the Super Bowl. So that's 9 of them. So we only went to, let's see here, 9, 13, that is 4. So he's only lost 4 playoff games on the road. Still not good. Still not good. I have really a lot of big questions with Peyton Manning and how well he is in the clutch. People are going to say, well, he's got 2 rings. In 2006, he did not have a good postseason in both of them. In those 2 Super Bowl runs, he had 5 touchdowns to 8 interceptions in both of those playoff runs. And I point out he only threw 2 touchdown passes and 1 pick in his most recent one. So that means he threw 3 touchdowns to 7 interceptions in his first one. So he tried to give them away. He tried to give away those Super Bowls away. But his defense won him in 2006. He came through with Bob Sanders came back and helped him with the Russian defense. It happened in 2000, this most recent year, in 2015, when they shut down. They luckily that they're at home for this. They shut down Pittsburgh. They shut down New England. If the game happened in New England, on the other hand, I don't think the Denver Broncos would have won the Super Bowl this year. So really, Peyton Manning was the passenger on both of those Super Bowls, and he still threw up all over himself. In home playoff games, he's cost his team playoff games as well. I mean, going up to New England, still a tough task, especially when you're a dome team. He took advantage of the fact he was a dome team. Fast receivers, Marvin Harrison. He had, who else he had? I think he had Dwayne Allen? No. Reggie Wayne, that's his name. Reggie Wayne. In Denver, you had Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and in the 2 Super Bowls you went to, besides the one you won, was in Super Bowl 48 against the Seahawks, and you got stomped 48 to 8. You didn't stand a chance. You were out of the Super Bowl before you knew it. You also threw the interception in Super Bowl 44 that gave the Saints the win. So in your 4 Super Bowl appearances, the 2 that you lost, you were both responsible for that loss. The 2 that you won happened. The first one, you were just okay in the Super Bowl on the first one. The second one, their defense won for you. 2 fumble recoveries and getting you a lot of turnovers. So that's why Peyton Manning is on this list of the most overrated guys. He did a lot, really great regular season quarterback, but when it came from the money, where time to put his money where his mouth is, he normally threw up all over himself. Number 4. I just realized this. I put Brett Favre at 4, and I didn't think, oh wait, the number 4, Brett Favre. But yeah, I put Brett Favre 4th. I'm sorry, Green Bay fans. I'm sorry, John Madden. I'm sorry, NFL Network. For those are the main people that really overrate this guy. Overrate Brett Favre. He used to have the most touchdown passes before Peyton Manning actually broke that list, but he also had the most passing interceptions. The most stupid turnovers I have ever seen from a quarterback. Why do people like this guy? Let those slide when if If someone like a Andrew Luck does it, we chastise him immediately. But when Favre does it, oh God, it's just Brett Favre being Brett Favre. Why does he get the excuse? He's a likable guy. Really, a likable guy that drained Green Bay of most of its money and then left out of town to go to New York, gets the money out of them, and then go to Minnesota, gets the money out of them, and really don't accomplish anything. Brett Favre has in the regular season he led them for most interceptions in his career. And good God, painful ones. In 2001 against the Rams, where he threw an interception, I think, in the fourth quarter, that cost him the game. 2003, he just threw a terrible overshot at the dot. Overshot Freeman, hit Dawkins right in the hands in Philadelphia. 2007, you had home field advantage against a worse team. You had the better team that year. It's in the cold. You're at home. You're in Lambeau. You turn the ball over in overtime, and that's your last pass as a Packer. Because the Giants go on to win that game, and they go on to win the Super Bowl. And then in 2009, the worst one of them all was in 2009. Because Brett Favre had to clear the lane for the first down to get the field goal, but instead he throws across his body like the cardinal sin for any NFL quarterback to throw across his body, and throws the interception to Tracy Porter, who ironically enough got Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl as well. Yeah, but I just don't get why people are so enamored with this guy, in particular in the media, in terms of NFL Network, ESPN, why people are just so enamored with him. It's just mind-boggling. I've never seen someone throw so many stupid interceptions for an NFL quarterback and not get in trouble for them. Not get in trouble with them at all. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. The reason why he's not higher on this list is because he did win a Super Bowl. He did win a second one. He won 3 MVPs. Fine. I will excuse him for that. And he went to 2 Super Bowls, and the one he lost was not his fault. Ironically enough, the one that he actually lost was not his fault, but he never went back to a Super Bowl after that. So that's the reason why he's on this list. But the fact that he won one is the reason why he's not higher on this list. Number 3 is Broadway Joe. Broadway Joe Namath. Now, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a young guy, so I was not around to see Joe Namath in the 60s and late 60s, early 70s. So all I have really the basis on is on stats alone. And stats alone, this guy is horrible. Horrible. He threw 277 interceptions to only 140-something touchdowns. Only went to the playoffs twice in his career. And what did he do in the Super Bowl? The most famous one of them all. He went to the Super Bowl in 1969 against the Baltimore Colts, 14-point underdogs. Say, we're going to win the game, I guarantee it. He called the game. He handed the ball off to Matt Snell the entire time. And really did nothing. He didn't deserve the MVP. Matt Snell deserved that MVP. He's the one that actually did something. He ran for the yards. After that, he didn't go back to the Super Bowl. He only went to the playoffs once after that. And he faded away, got injured, and this guy's regarded as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and I just don't get it. I don't see it. I don't understand it. Why is this guy so on a pedestal over guys like Roger Staubach? Guys like Terry Bradshaw, who I think were better. I think Terry Bradshaw, and even though Terry Bradshaw had a better team, he still won them games. In the end, he didn't get injured. He didn't fade away after he won the Super Bowls. Roger Staubach, very good team leader, led his team back, win Super Bowls, and he kept his playoffs in the contention every year. Joe Namath only was in the playoff contention twice, and after that, he was not really an asset. He just kept getting injured. He was more of a liability. So, I respect him for what he's done for the game, but seriously, he should not be one of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. Considered to be. When I read that pissed me off. And that he's on the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. No offense, Joe. No offense to all the people in New York. And also, I want to point this out. The Jets want to find the next Joe Namath. I would stay away from people that want to be like Joe Namath. I would stay away from someone like that. And I wish the Jets good luck. this season, even though I'm from New England, but wish them good luck. Good luck in getting Ryan Fitzpatrick back, because after the recording of this, they don't still haven't signed him. Number 2 is Dan Marino, the best pure passer in the game. But 0 rings to show for it. Only went to 1 Super Bowl in '84. Never went back. He almost got back in '85, and I think he would have won it in 1985 if he had gotten past New England. Yay, small victories. Little victories up here. They're very scarce in those days. But we're talking about Dan Marino. Dan Marino had, at the time he was in his career, had the most passing yards, most passing touchdowns, with 420. I still find that hilarious because he's in Miami, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. He didn't really do much in the playoffs. He would go to colder teams, and he was not prepared for the cold, and it's more on him. If he's so great, why hasn't he won a Super Bowl? I know, didn't have much of a defense, but you had a coach, Don Shula, who coached a really good defense in Miami in the 70s. You're telling me he can't pick up defensive talent for him? Like, seriously. And arm strength. I think arm strength is a very lackluster thing to judge a quarterback on. To put this in perspective, Jeff George and Jay Cutler both have terrific arm strength. That diminishes the definition of that word. So congratulations, you have great arm strength. You can throw the ball through a wall. But no rings? You know who's got more rings than you? Trent Dilfer. Brad Johnson. The 3 guys I mentioned on this list. Actually, the other 4 guys on this list all have Super Bowl rings. Except for you. So, why isn't he number 1? I'll get to that in a second. Because why he's not. No, I did not put him in number 1 is because I understand he didn't really have much after the Marx brothers, and he had bad defenses. But seriously, you can't get past the Chargers or the Patriots. You are Dan Marino. You're the best pure passer in the game. You're the one who can dissect the defense. If you can read a defense that well, why don't have anything to show for it? That's the big question. But he's not in number 1. Number 1 on my list is Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman. I don't like him as an announcer. I don't like how he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't like the fact that people consider him one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Okay. I want to point this out. Like I said before at the beginning of this video, I don't hate any of these quarterbacks. I just can't stand the attention they get, or some people put on them. Troy Aikman is the epitome of that. He's a Fox. He's on Fox. He's a Fox announcer. He's constantly talked about as one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's got 3 rings, and he's kind of the opposite of Dan Marino. Dan Marino did not have an offensive line, a Hall of Fame wide receiver, Hall of Fame running back, or a defense that was good enough to smash you in the mouth. No. Troy Aikman had the best offensive line in football. All he did was hand the ball off to Emmitt Smith, and Emmitt Smith would run up those holes right for the touchdown. Troy Aikman only passed for over 20 touchdowns once in his career, and that was early in his career. And it's not because I hate Troy Aikman, it's the fact that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that to me is something special. Something for the absolute elite of the elite. The Jerry Rices, the Lawrence Taylors, the Joe Montanas. Troy Aikman. I cannot really name you a game where Troy Aikman won for the Cowboys. I can't. When I think of the Dallas Cowboys, he is not even the best player on the offense. The best players on those offenses, Emmitt Smith, Larry Allen, Michael Irvin, Jimmy Johnson. The coach for the Dallas Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson, had the system in place to make sure that the ball was just being handed off and Troy Aikman didn't really have to do much. All the pressure was off him because they would blow up the games. They would absolutely blow out games. They would never take the foot off the gas. They would hand the ball off to Emmitt Smith, keep that off the offense of the other team on the other side of the field. He benefited from a great team, and he pretty much did cost him in the '94 championship game. 1994 NFC Championship game, San Francisco throws an interception in one of the first plays of the game. Don't remember if it was one of the first plays or not. So, and he doesn't really do much after that. What did he do after Jimmy Johnson left? He won a Super Bowl with Barry Switzer, still had the same team. Lost in 94, 96, 97, 98, 99. 2000, he gets knocked out with an injury and ends his career. Does that sound like a Hall of Famer to you? Does that sound like a first ballot Hall of Famer? You know who wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer? Carl Eller. Vince Lombardi. The guy that the trophy is named after is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Why? Because they didn't really take it, because they say, well, he had a lot of talent around him. What's that argument with Troy Aikman? I think Troy Aikman could be a Hall of Famer. I will have no problem with him being in the Hall of Fame. It's the fact that he's a first ballot Hall of Famer that's my problem. So that's my list. Comment below if you agree, disagree, or if I missed somebody that you think that I missed. For right now, I'm John Teddy. I'm the Football Reporter, signing off.